James Spann joins us.
Yeah. He's a man with a Mayweather plan. He's a mighty James Spann. He's a mighty good weatherman. He's the man Rick and Bubba's biggest fan. He's a Mayweather man. He's the mighty James Spann.
James Spann, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing very well. I'm in a warm place, and I can't gripe. How are you guys?
You know what? We're doing all right. I mean, it's yesterday a window where we lived. We're part of this winter storm that hit a lot of southeastern states and up into the east.
The 1,000-mile storm.
The 1,000-mile storm.
From Texas to Maryland.
Yeah, we've heard from people from all those locations saying, what they've been through. But for us, we had a little window open up yesterday where the roads became passable, the ones we needed to get to work, and got here, spent the night, and it looks like by your forecast and by this afternoon, we should, at least where we live, get on the other side of it, and it ought to be that way for most everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be, for most folks in the east and the deep south, the coldest morning, and beyond that, we start a warming trend. And, man, it's cold. Where the snow came down, we've got some cities below zero in Alabama and Georgia this morning. And that can happen after a snow and the sky is clear and the wind is light, the radiational cooling effect. But, yes, we start a warming trend later today. For most people listening to us in the east and the south, that begins this afternoon, and that will help roads tremendously where the ice just melts away. But, the one thing, fellas, for a lot of people in some of these markets like Atlanta and Birmingham, the biggest issue after the ice melt, it's the abandoned cars.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
That just something to think about. And, I mean, you'll be coming down a road, and all of a sudden there's a car right in the middle of the street,
Oh, no, I went through that. Yeah, I went through that yesterday. I mean, I thought I would go ahead and get over for an exit that I needed to get off to get to the studio, and you couldn't because the exit was full of automobiles. I mean, in the lane to exit all the way to the ramp.
Yeah, I after our evening news last night, I took a break. I got a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and I had two kids, our son and another son from a local high school that walked to the TV station, to get a warm place, and they'd been, at the TV station for a day or two, and I drove them to a point where I met a guy in an ATV, and he's one of the many heroes in this thing. He took those two teenagers in an ATV over this mountain, and he had a GoPro camera on his helmet, which was cool because it was just a parking lot, and he was having to maneuver through these abandoned vehicles, and there were some 18-wheelers up there, and it was just I've not seen that. And it's going to take, a long time to clear those cars away. So even if the ice melts, just be aware of that. And it's very easy to come up on these things in a hurry. But, yeah, in the east, the warm-up keeps on rolling along, and by the time the weekend gets here, it's going to feel so much better for so many people that are listening to us in the east and the south. Parts of the deep south could see 60-degree warmth by Saturday and Sunday, and that should make everybody happy. And interestingly enough, the bigger winter weather issues now are in the western states. Well, really, that's good news for those folks. There's been a really nasty drought in California, and this as the pattern changes, that should help with mountain snow out there and some precipitation that they can need in California in the next 5 to 7 days.
James, several issues as we clean up, and we'll ask you about one of them in a minute as we get the forecast, but you guys, you have done a great job, and I know you've been on the job a lot this week, and we appreciate everything that you have done, even though I know there was some griping, and you didn't fall on the sword. You jumped in front of the train on this, taking responsibility for it. But, snow, predicting that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, and again, like I said here, in the last couple of days, please don't get mad. If you're in a market where the forecast was bad, and in my local market, which is Birmingham, Alabama, what we produced was bad. So schools and businesses planned with bad information. And it's not their fault, it's my fault. You need to fuss at somebody, please fuss at me. I'm a big boy. This is like coaching football. Yeah. You win a bunch of games, but you're only as bad as your last game. And if you lose a big one, you're going to be in the newspaper and on the message boards and on the Twitter and all that, which is fine. Look, it energizes me. I'm not the kind of guy that lets it bother me. I'll let it energize me. But on a synoptic scale, yeah, everybody knew this was coming, but it's the small scale. And a little difference of, 10, 20, 30 miles can mean the difference in a large major metropolitan area going on snow and ice. But here's the one thing, fellas, that we're going to have to look at very carefully. If you would tell me that we'd have 1 to 2 inches of snow, the magnitude of these problems, that's very surprising. What happened in Atlanta and Birmingham, it's more like a crippling ice storm. It's raining and it's below freezing. This was snow, and we got to look at the process, the physics involved. I know a lot was to do with the cold air, but we're going to look at that in coming days. It was amazing what 1 to 2 inches of snow did with this thing.
Yeah, it really is.